Hi everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome to the AppSmith community call today. Today I have an exciting day where I'm going to show you some of our features that are going to go live really soon. But I hope you're all doing well. It's a pretty bad time for our team because a lot of our team members are suffering from COVID, especially a lot of team members in India. I'm hoping wherever you all are, you're staying safe and you're not actually sick or ill. And if you are, I hope you get well very soon. So with this, let's get started with today's call. I'm gonna just go ahead and share my screen. All right. So I'm going to talk about three upcoming features that are going to go live very soon, and then if there is a little bit of time, I might show you a couple of features which are not going to go live really soon, but they're just like work in progress and experiments that we are running. So with that, let's get started with some of our new upcoming features. So we have three features that we are going to talk about today. The first one is a new widget, which is a circular progress bar widget. Then the second bit is not a new widget, but a new way of accessing widgets. So we've basically broken our input widgets into a couple of different types. There's a normal input type, and then you also have currency and phone number input type. And the third one, which is a biggie, it's actually the reflow and resize experience to improve drag and drop and make it much easier and much quicker to build things on AppSmith. The third one, I'm going to actually show that to you, and that's when you're going to realize the power of it. But it's possibly the biggest change to drag and drop in AppSmith ever. So really excited about these all of these three things. Now, some of these features are already live for people on the cloud, while we're actually going to release this next week for people on self-hosted. So some of you might already be seeing this. Okay, the first one, the circular progress bar. This is a useful improvement to the progress bar widget that we had introduced in December. The progress bar widget that we had was a single line, but we often see these dashboards where you have like a nice little circle which is showing you the percentage of progress, and that's what we've achieved here. So this particular progress bar, you can either have it you can have it in many different ways. One is, of course, you can choose the color. Here I have a bunch of different colors. Second is you can choose to either display the value inside this progress bar or not display the value at all in the progress bar. You can also choose to do it in a clockwise fashion. Like this one is, for example, clockwise, while this and this, they're anti-clockwise. So two, a very simple widget, but very versatile and can do many things. The really exciting thing about this widget, which makes me very happy, is that this widget was actually contributed by a community member, Yalram. And Yalram, if you're watching this or you are hearing this later, thank you so much for contributing. And I know you've been engaging with other team members. Uh, so Yalram basically went ahead and created this component using the React circular progress bar component. And then he posted this on our Discord. So that was really exciting. It took us about about a week or so to get this merged in, ensure that all the I's have been dotted, all the T's have been crossed out. And it was amazing to see how quickly we could launch this. Now we have a lot of external contributors at AppSmith. Nearly, total contributors are about 170, and I believe about 130, 40 of them are external contributors. But this is one of the contributions I'm very excited about, is because this was actually a major contribution. It's an entire widget. Most contributions that we see tend to be lots of bug fixes and lots of small issues that generally don't get seen by other users. But this widget is exciting because somebody's built something that's going to be seen by literally everybody, and that's really exciting. So thank you so much, Yelram. And if any of you who are watching this want to contribute widgets and understand how to do it, please check out our Discord. We have a lot of instructions there, and it is not that difficult to contribute a widget. You're going to be surprised at how quickly you can make progress. So definitely give that a shot. Now let's move on to the next one. The next one, what we've done is we've broken out the input types. And now if you search for input, you're going to see three different kinds of inputs. You're going to see the currency input, the normal input, and then you're also going to see the phone input. The currency input and phone input have certain special characteristics, which I'm going to just demonstrate in a couple of minutes. So we had to break it out so that it's easy to discover, but also it should be really easy for you to configure it without having to run into problems. So that's the reason we decided to break it out, and I'm going to just show you that demo in a couple of minutes. The last one was about reflow and resize. So this is reflow and resize while dragging and dropping. Now let me change my screens and actually show you the demo of all these new features. All right. Okay, so I think all of you can see my screen here. The first one that I mentioned is about the circular progress part. This is what the properties look like. You can add a number value here, and that will basically decide how much it shows up. Now, it doesn't need to range between 1 to 100. For example, let's take this one here. I have 90. It can be 110 as well. It can even be 11,000. So uh, all of these things actually work. So you're probably not going to use 11,000 or numbers greater than 100, but that's possible. Now, you can also choose to show the value in a counterclockwise manner. Let's go here. So you can do this. You can also choose to hide the result, the actual number. That's possible to hide. And of course, you can change the fill color right here. So which makes it quite versatile. You can also have the fill color change according to the value that's here. So you can have the fill color change from red if it's low, green if it's good, and blue maybe if it's higher than 80. So you can do all of these things because you can write JS here. So this makes this widget quite versatile. Now let's go on to the second bit, which was about input widgets. So we have three different inputs here. Let me drag the third one as well, input. Now, if you click on input, you can choose a data type here, which can be text, number, password, or email. And depending on what you choose, it actually changes its appearance a little bit and changes its functionality as well. Now, we used to have currency and phone number as one of these options, but it was confusing. It was not discoverable. And also, these widgets often had more controls and more properties. Like here, you can specify a particular, let's choose Nigeria. So you can actually specify a particular country code to show up here. And you have, that's the main option right here. So that's something was just interfering with the property pane of the normal input widget. So breaking it out just makes it a lot easier for us to maintain it, as well as a lot easier for you to use it. Same thing with the currency widget as well. You can choose from many different currency types here. And just it's a good widget to use in forms when you're collecting information for an invoice, all those different cases here. So this is a small update, but this is actually important for us because it's going to help us maintain these widgets a lot better. One of the problems uh, that we've heard about the phone input, for example, is that you can go ahead and type the country code here, and it doesn't actually update it here. That's something that we're going to fix, and just breaking these widgets out into separate ones helps us do that much better. So that's why I've broken this out. So these are the two new widgets. Now let's talk about the new drag and drop experience here. You're going to see this as a flag here. It'll be turned on by default, but you can also turn it off. Let's start by turning it off because I want to show you how drag and drop works today. You might already know this, but I'm just going to remind you about this. Now let me try to drop another circular progress bar widget. There's no space between these two widgets, and that's why I cannot drop it. Every time I try doing it, the widget just disappears. Now this is the way it happens today. Quite a painful thing to do. But with our new reflow, take a look at what happens here. I'm again going to try dragging this progress bar widget here, but just look at what happens to these other widgets. They actually move around. Now I can move these and they actually create space for this other widget to come in. And that's amazing because you're never going to see red now. I can just drop this anywhere. I'm going to show you a couple of different nuances about this. Now I'm first gonna just drop a container here. Now I can I can either move this into a container or I can, let's take this phone input. Now I can move this around the container, like for example, like this. I can also place it inside a container really easily. Now you see this? So the way I'm doing that is by moving this inside very quickly. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's very easy to move something inside and outside. That's really easy. So this is very easy to do. Let me know if you have any problems with this. We've tested this out with a few people, but we still might have problems with it. So do let us know if you find this container entry and exit to be a little complicated. And we'll definitely try to solve it or improve the logic here. So that's the first thing, which is you can use velocity to move a widget in and out of containers. So that's one thing. The second interesting thing is the resize. The way resize works is, let's take this widget, and if I try to place it between these other widgets, you can notice that this widget on the left is actually resizing. Now let's watch what happens when I move this to the right. It happens to this widget as well. But the widget here doesn't actually resize. Now, basically, this is where we've tried to apply basic physics principles that work in the real world. We are assuming this canvas edge is a wall, and anytime something hits the wall, it can resize. So if I take this and knock it against the wall, it actually resizes. So that's something that we've done. Now, this makes it easy for you to place widgets and essentially ensure that there's always place for a widget. So let me know what you think about this feature. There are a couple of few updates that we'll be doing to this particular feature over the next couple of months. The first update that we'll be doing is around the copy and paste experience. Uh, Today, the way copy paste works is that it always pastes the widgets at the bottom of the container. Now let's look at what happens when I copy this. If I copy this and then I paste it, it all shows up at the bottom. This is not where I wanted it. That's something we are going to be working on very soon. So that's an update that you're going to see in about, I would guess, like about 2 months, where you will be able to control where widgets are pasted. So that's the first update that's going to come out. The other update that's going to come out, which is actually not live today, is moving widgets in a group. Now, today I can move widgets in a group, but I cannot reflow them. This container at the bottom, for example, isn't moving out of the way. That's because we have turned on reflow only for individual widgets. Uh, but as one of the next enhancements, we will be introducing this for a group of widgets. Now, that's the second enhancement that you can expect to see in the next couple of months. The third enhancement that you can expect to see is group resize. Today, it's not possible for you to do group resize in AppSmith. You can do individual resizing of widgets, but you cannot do it for multiple widgets together. That's another enhancement that we'll be introducing over the next couple of months. So please do keep an eye out for these enhancements, as well as test this feature out because it's in beta, and give us any feedback that you have about this. There's some information for you here. You can also go click on documentation. But if you have any feedback, please ping us on Intercom or on Discord and let us know what you think about this. So before I move on to some of the other features that I wanted to show, I just want to respond to some of the messages here. Firstly, Arsalan. Oh, so we have Yaldram Arsalan Sheikh here. Thanks, Arsalan. Thank you so much. Really lovely to meet you and actually find out your real name. Yeah. We have a question here, which is by S for the progress bar. Can we put a max number and then update it each 5 seconds, for example? Got it. So now Arsalan actually answers it. He says we had a max number, but for simplicity, we removed it. This is a good feature request. We'll take note of this, and we'll try to update this progress bar widget here. This I understand the use case that S has in mind. Thank you, S. I have another question here from Onur HOS. He's asking, do we have plans for gRPC data sources? Now, as of today, it's not on our immediate roadmap. I think we are still trying to get a lot of our REST data sources out, as well as a lot of databases out. gRPC not immediately. We would definitely file an issue for this. I'm just checking if we have an issue for this already. If not, I'm going to create an issue for this. But okay, we don't seem to have an issue for this. So I'm going to go ahead and create an issue right after this call. But as of today, it's not on our product roadmap, to be honest. Okay, so I'll take. Is there one more question here? Okay, no, there aren't any more questions here. So I'm gonna just take a few minutes and show you some of our features which are not. Oh, I have a question here from Ashok. Will Reflow work when I try to resize a widget? So let's actually test that out. Now, Reflow will work when you resize a widget. Let me just go ahead and demo that to you. Let's go find that. So this is actually again a fairly useful feature. So resize does work. Reflow does work when I'm resizing it. So you can now move things around and resize them, and they will create space. So that's definitely possible. Thanks, Ashok, for asking. Okay, so while we wait for other questions, I want to just show you an example of one or two features that we've actually been working on. And the first feature that we are just experimenting with is a way of introducing tabs in AppSmith. Let me share my screen, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Okay, yeah, I found that tab. Okay, now I think you can see my screen here. This is very much a prototype that we are testing just to understand if this is worthy of pursuing or not. So I would really love your feedback if you think this is useful. So if you pay attention here, you can actually see tabs. I have a page here which has multiple different widgets, and I also have the JS object. Uh, okay, like I said, this is an MVP, so there'll definitely be bugs, but I can basically have multiple tabs here. Let's try to open a data source. Okay, so now I have an API as well. So I have the page, the JS object, and the API available right here as tabs. If you notice, these pages actually stay loaded and they maintain their position. Or maybe oops. Okay. Yeah, they're supposed to maintain their position, but this seems to scroll down. Like I said, this is an MVP, but they will maintain their position. So if you've been typing, it's going to maintain the position there. So all of this is going to be possible. Now, let me know what you think of this feature. Do you think tabs are necessary, or do you think it's not so necessary because you can anyway access everything here? Let me know what you think. And if you would like to test this out, I'm going to just share this deploy preview on YouTube. So we'll just share that on our on the YouTube live chat. So that's the first feature that I wanted to show you, which was tabs. Now the second feature that I want to show you is actually the Entity Explorer. Now we've been updating our Entity Explorer in AppSmith so that it's easier to use. I'm going to just quickly show you an update right there. Let's just find the latest PR. Now with the Entity Explorer, some of you might have already seen the designs. The idea behind the new Entity Explorer is to ensure that pages are separated out from the different entities, and that's exactly uh, what we've built. And this is something that's going to go live in I would say in about 3 weeks or so. Uh, Definitely in February. Uh, but before March for sure. Okay, so I think I have managed to load it. Okay, got it. Yeah, let me now switch my screen. Okay, so this is this is the new Entity Explorer. You have all the pages here, and you have widgets, queries, and data sources all separated out very nicely here. We've also increased the font sizes, so it's a lot easier to read, and this should make it a lot easier for you to find what you need. If you compare it with what's there today, let's go here. So this is what the Entity Explorer looks like today, and this is what it will look like very soon. Here you can see the pages are mixed up. There are multiple pages here. Things are not really separated out in categories, while here they are separated out in categories. The other thing that we've done is we've combined queries and JS. So if you press the new button here, you can either create a new API, new JS object, do a new curl import, or create a new DB query. You can it basically makes it a lot easier for you to find everything that you need right here just using your keyboard. You can do a curl import, or you can just go back to doing this. Now, you can also access it right here. To create a new one, you just press Command Shift, Command Option N. It's a little bit buggy. It's not live yet, but you're going to be able to. Yeah, okay, it works. Option Shift N, and then you can create anything that you need. This is something that's going to come out very soon. These are the two new features that I just wanted to show you today because these are works in progress. And any feedback you have about this, we would absolutely love to hear from you about it. Uh, Thanks, S. Yeah, so we'll definitely consider doing tabs. Do test this out and see if this makes sense. If you have ideas for where we could learn about tabs, I'd definitely love to know. Uh, Here's a question from Vikram Mishra. Uh, so Vikram Mishra is asking auto align sticky widget. Vikram, I'm assuming you're asking. Uh, okay, it's not a very it's not completely clear to me, but by auto align you mean I can move groups of widgets to left, right, or center. Uh, that's something we will work on. It's not immediately on our roadmap, but definitely we'll work on some alignment issues. Sticky widget, on the other hand, that's something we'll actually be working on a lot quicker. That'll be the fourth update, probably to Reflow, fourth or fifth update, so that you can have widgets which are locked and they don't move when you're moving things around. So that expect to see that in like a quarter or so. Auto align, that's going to take us a little longer to get to. Now, now here's a question by Vikram Mishra again. Sharing data sources across pages, sharing data resources across pages. Now, Vikram, I'm assuming here you mean sharing a query because it's possible to have the same data source, the same database used across pages or across apps. But when it comes to sharing queries, that's something that's not possible today, but we are actually actively working on it. We are actively working on ensuring you can have data sources that are shared across pages, so you can have a single query. You don't need to do uh, copy paste of the query. So that's something we are actually working on it. I might have a very early design of this one. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, yes, I managed to find it. Yeah. So we're just prototyping this uh, right now, but you will have a way by which queries are available globally. Okay, so this was our. Okay, I think I need to find a different one. Okay, I seem to be failing to find the Figma file that was relevant here. But when I do find it and when it's ready, we'll actually share it. And that's where you'll be able to see how we plan to introduce sharing of a query across pages. But we have one more question here. For tables, can we make Notion group by property? Uh, this is a really useful feature. I know Notion's group by property feature is actually uh, really popular. This is not on our immediate feature roadmap. This is a intriguing feature request though. So we'll definitely record it and discuss it when we are updating the table widget. But immediately, this is not on our roadmap. When it comes to improvements for our table widget, there are a couple of things that are immediately on our roadmap. First one is a virtualized infinite scroll table so that you don't need pagination. That's something that we'll be working on. The second thing that we'll be working on uh, are around introducing editable rows and columns in a table widget. That's the second thing that we'll be working on. The third bit will be really around performance and a bunch of quality of life updates there. That's something that's going to be part of our table V2. There's an issue open for it and it's actively under development. So do keep an eye out for those. Uh, Thanks, Vikram. Really great to hear that you are using AppSmith. And I'm looking forward to hearing more questions and more feedback and advice that you have for us. Thank you so much. So, so if these are all the questions that we have today, I'm gonna end the call. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. We'll see you next Thursday for another call, and we'll see you right then. All right. Take care. See you, everybody. Bye. Oh, I have one more question from S. What about the grid view? So, as grid view is not immediately on our roadmap, our aim is to first introduce the inline editable table widget, and soon after that, we'll actually do the grid view. Uh, because I believe the editable table will actually serve the purpose of a grid widget for quite a bit, for quite a bit of the use cases. So once we do that, we are definitely going to do the grid widget as well. The main reason why we've not introduced the inline editable table yet is because of performance. We actually got really close to introducing it last year, October, but the turned out to be pretty poor, and we had to shelve that. And we realized we need to make some major architecture changes before we can tackle it again. And so that's what we are trying to do. That's why it's taking us a little bit longer. But we're definitely thinking about inline editable table as well as the grid widget for sure. All right. All right, then. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much. And stay safe wherever you are. Take care.